Hello, folks. Thank you for joining me once more on this trail as we journey uh, to ensure that we realize our dreams of becoming a great content writer, a professional freelancer who does not just write but get his skill converted into value. And what I mean by value is monetary value. Uh, you need to watch my previous video because what we're going to do today is going to be a takeoff from that with respect to how you can get your account approved and how you can bid and win, because I'm going to be talking specifically about how you can bid and win today. But you need to get an account approved before you can bid, so the process has to be scientific. All right, so let me take you through a few things I discussed in my last video. And I told you that if you want to get your account approved, there are criteria you must follow. And I told you the first thing has to do with not violating the terms of service. All right, so you must read the terms of service before you start applying. But then, even after this terms of service, I told you the need for you to use business email rather than using a personal email like Gmail, like Yahoo Mail, like Hotmail, and so on. So you must use a business email, and I told you how you can get that done. I hope you've been able to get one. So the second thing I told you is ensuring that you fill as many subcategories in the skill section of the form you are filling of your proposal. Ensure that you fill the categories that suit your writing style, that you think you are competent at, and not just a random selection of skills and sub skills. All right, I told you you must complete your profile up to 100%. So just watch the video, you will see a lot of those tips. Apply them and you are on your way to getting an approval. Okay, so for those who are on board yet but unable to get their first gig, maybe after 6 months, after 4 months, some after 8 months, I have good news for you, and I want to congratulate you ahead, because today's session is going to be a blockbuster. You're going to get loads of ideas that you can use to get your first bid. And once you are able to get the first job and the first gig on Upwork, trust me, you're not going to stop again. But how do you get that first proposal? How do you get that first job? There are things you must know. The world itself is procedural. Don't be anxious at all. Don't be depressed because the first gig is not coming. No. In fact, be upbeat. Ensure that you are charged every time you want to put in your best to ensure that you get that first job. But how do you get it? And I'm going to start on the note of the profile, because the profile will either make you get job or will mar your chances of getting job on Upwork. The first thing is that you must set your profile visibility to public. As a newbie, you're just coming on board. Ensure that your profile setting is put at public in terms of how how your profile is visible to the public. It must be public. All right. There are a lot of advantages, because the fellow freelancers, clients, potential clients, and visitors on the internet will be able to access your profile. And that is good enough, because your profile visibility as public will serve as a referral. If, for example, your friends just Google search your name, and just go to the internet and put your name there, and they see that, oh, you are on Upwork, oh, that gives them an idea of what you do in terms of the service you can render, in terms of the skills you have. So that opens up a space, even for potential clients who are not on Upwork yet, but maybe you're just searching name across board, and they just find out that, oh, there's this guy on Upwork who has this skill, who can deliver this content, and maybe that is what their next stuff is. Who knows? maybe you'll be the first point of contact. So ensure that you set your profile visibility to public so that it can be accessible by a lot of people on the internet, by potential clients, by freelancers, by visitors to the internet, by all sorts of people. Then it becomes a public instrument. By instrument, I mean it becomes a public material that they can use to understand exactly what you can deliver. So that's one. Two, you on your profile too, you will see hours. How many hours are you available per week? On Upwork, you will see less than 30 hours per week. You will see less than or more than 30 hours per week. You will see as needed, open to offers. For a newbie, for you just coming on board, ensure that you put as needed, open to offers. Please and please, don't go and put less than 30 hours per week. Then most of the clients on Upwork, most of those who give out jobs on Upwork are looking for those who are ready to work for them, because a lot of the jobs there are for those who are ready to work. When you see less than 30 hours per week, maybe those who are doing passive, who are making it passive. But if you really concentrate that you want to be a professional freelancer who want to earn big money, when I mean big money, you want to earn in dollars, then ensure that you put open to offers. It's because you are new, so you don't want to shortchange yourself in terms of how open you are to proposals, to job posts, and to offers. So make it a point of duty when you are setting up your profile that your profile is set to as needed, open to offers. Now the last thing has to be your profile completion. This cannot be overemphasized because I have mentioned it in the last video we had. I told you that your profile has to be 100%. Every damn thing that you've not filled, every field that you have not entered, ensure that you complete them. Go and complete your educational history, go and complete your experience, go and complete your skills, go and complete your payment method, go and do every other thing that you need to do, so that when you have 100% profile completion, then that gives you a leverage over somebody who has 60 or less or more, but not up to 100. All right, so that gives you that edge, and you must leverage on that edge to get your first gig. Now that is on profile setting. If there are other information that I need to inject, just pay attention. I can assure you, you're going to get all of those information. How do you bid? This is the most interesting part, I must confess to you. How do you bid? There are a few things you need to learn when you are bidding. First, you applied for the job that suits and matches your skill. Apply for the job that suits and matches your skill. Don't pick jobs at random. You have the connects, as many, some 40 as 50 connects. You have jobs that are, the maximum is six connects that require the maximum number of connects that a job we have is 6. We have 4, we have 2, in fact we have 1. So ensure that you are using these connects reasonably. So when you want to apply, scan through all the jobs, go to details of the one you want to apply for, go and look at the requirements that the client has set there. So when you look at the requirements, do those requirements suit and match your skill that you have input when you were registering, when you were setting up your profile? If yes, read further in terms of what is the pay. Read further in terms of whether there is location requirement. Some clients require that you are located in the US. Some are saying you must be in Australia. Some will say you must be in Canada. Some will say you must be resident in Philippines. So, but just read all the requirements. So, having read all the requirements, now go back to the skill again, to the job title. So when you read details, because sometimes the post title sometimes does not correlate with the details. So when you read the details in terms of whether it's a long-term project, whether it's a short-term project, whether they said a copywriter, email copywriter, then when you read it, then you go, don't forget again that you have your skill set already at the back of your mind. Do those requirements match your skills? If yes, so apply. So when you are applying, there's also a rule. Of course, you are where you're going to write a cover letter. Cover letter. You've got to be very careful. This is where a lot of people don't get their jobs. When you're writing your cover letter, don't be elusive. Your cover letter should not be ambiguous. Your cover letter should not be anonymous. Anonymity is not allowed. Ambiguity is not allowed. Elusiveness is not allowed. So be clear. Put a name apart from the face that is showing on your profile. Put a name to your to your cover letter. Interestingly, some clients put their names. So you check. So when you are writing your cover letter, the first thing is hello. Maybe the client's name is Philip. Just hi Philip or hello Philip. Sometimes for somebody like me, I can put dear potential client if I don't know the name of the client. But if I know, I put the name. So when you are writing, ensure that your cover letter is not elusive. And I'm going to explain what your elusiveness is. Elusiveness is when it is extremely difficult to describe what you are even saying in the cover letter. When the client cannot decipher exactly what you're trying to communicate. Because your proposal should be very concise. Your proposal should be very short. It should come in simple sentences that you, in a way, you are also selling what you want to sell to the client through your cover letter. So if it is too elusive or laced with highfalutin languages and vocabularies, you may get your proposal rejected. So don't be elusive. Make it as concise, as simple, easy to understand as possible. All right. So the second thing is ambiguity. Ambiguity has to do with your description of the entire task that you want to carry out. You should state clearly how you want to address that work, how you want to write that article that you are asked to write, or the blog post that you're asked to write, or the review you are asked to write, or the description, product description you're asked to write. Highlight how you want to address it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Maybe you start with meta description if it is required. You go to icebreaker, which is your introduction. You go to the structure of the body of the work. Then maybe your final thought. If FAQ is required, FAQ, the frequently asked questions. If it is required, you put it. Then before your final thought or final verdict or a wrap, depending on the phrase you want to use there. So make sure that your cover letter is addressing how you want to tackle the problem. Cover letter is not an ego booster. It shouldn't be telling us about what you have done, no, but what you will do and how you are going to handle the task that is ahead of you. So when the client sees it, oh, beautiful. Some clients have preset, preset guidelines. So if the client does not have a preset guidelines, if it doesn't state in the proposal that, okay, I have a guideline, ensure that you put your guideline, especially how you want to address that task. All right, and you will get that idea by browsing, going to the internet to look at a topic. For example, I say 4 common problems of Ford 3.5 EcoBoost engines. That's a topic. So before you apply, if for example the topic is on automotive and that's a topic, so sometimes you will see an hint into the questions and some of the topics you'll be dealing with. So you can Google search and look at, okay, what are the structures of one or two things. Then from there, you can put those structures there. Sometimes you don't have to be too mechanical about what you see online. You can be ingenious yourself to and be creative to draft out a structure that you think should suit what the client is really, or what the client really needs in the job post you are set out. All right. So make sure that your cover letter is not ambiguous. Let it be clear. Don't let it boost your ego, but let it boost your skill. Let it boost your experience. All right. The third thing has to be anonymous, and I've made mention of that it doesn't have to be anonymous. Ensure that you put a face to it. At the end of the day, maybe you say best regards, then you put your name, James. So put a name to your cover letter. Is that taken? Now the next thing has to be that ask a question or make a suggestion in your cover letter. You can ask your client question. I find it curious that this proposal does not include 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You can ask questions. Don't you think that a paid test will be fine if you're not fine with my samples? What about that? So ask a client for a test. You can also make suggestions as to, okay, you're asking for landing page. You ask me to write a landing page for a website. But I think given that the niche we're writing on, I think 1, 2, 3 points are important so that the clients or the visitor to our website or to our blog will be able to. So when you give those suggestions, you actually making some sort of affiliation with the client. You are creating a very beautiful relationship, a very beautiful background for a future relationship. Who knows? So when you put yourself in the shoe of the client, one, and you are able to address the post as though you were the one who put it out, then you are creating some kind of reputation for yourself, and that will land you the first job. So ensure that your cover letter makes suggestions. Sometimes you can make suggestions, you can ask questions from the client. So when you do that, what you're trying to do is to ensure that, okay, you are picturing a kind of thing that, okay, maybe this client would need this. So I've also said that use short sentences when you're writing your cover letter. Use short sentences. Don't write long sentences. A simple sentence, sometimes a compound sentence. Don't write complex sentences when you're writing your proposal. Simple sentences, compound sentences, fine. So that's your cover letter. Then your cover letter, I've told you, should start with I, then best regards or regards, and you put your name at the end. Then make it very short. Pretty short. And when I say pretty short, client don't have time to be reading a long essay. A proposal shouldn't be a thesis or a dissertation. So it's like when you're creating your profile, like I told you then, it shouldn't be too lengthy. A lengthy proposal does not attract the attention of a client. Make your proposal as short as 150 words, 120 words. Within that range is fine. Communicate how you want to address the post, the job. Then there are some of these job posts that come with questions. These questions are there, maybe preset by Upwork. There are about 4 or 5 questions, and that's part of what I'm going to address in my next session. You've got to stay tuned how you can answer those questions. Questions about Which job have you handled that is like this before? Job about tell us your experience. Now in your cover letter, I need to add, if you have links to published articles, because some articles are just deliver as a ghostwriter and go. But for somebody who has not been on this platform before, but maybe you're on another platform, or you've just been a freelancer who has not been involved in e-marketplace, ensure if you have access to some of the links of the articles you have published, maybe it can be newspaper, just link it up, but make sure that your samples relate to what the client is asking for. If you don't have a sample, fine, just have a way of inundating your client with information that will be relevant to the job he has posted. And I think that's quite important. I wish you well. You will get your first gig. It's sure, because it was also difficult for me when I started. In fact, as a matter of fact, I spent about 5 months before I got my first gig. But after getting the first gig, it was coming in leaps and bounds. So just take your time. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a good experience on Upwork. There are millions of people out there who want to get on board, and by the time you join them, it's a win-win situation for everyone. So take your time, go over your profile again, go over the cover letter before you send it, go over the dynamics of everything you've put down, and ensure that they are coherent with what is required. They're consistent with what is required, and you're able to deliver what is expected. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, watch previous videos, and learn a few things that you need to learn and pick up from where you are as a no freelancer to a known freelancer. Thank you. Yeah.